have that one friend that treats celebrity news like it's breaking world news. You wake up, check your phone, and there it is. A 3-paragraph essay text about how some celebrity couple you knew wasn't going to last forever finally called it quits. They're posting RIP Theo Huxtable on their story. Yo, RIP Theo Huxtable, we loved you so much. But here's the thing, those friends may know the headlines, but what they don't know is the internet's darker, grimmier side of celebrity lore. Because if you scroll long enough, you'll eventually run into some theories. The kind of theories that will never show up on People magazine or TMZ. Because allegedly, that's not the kind of press these celebrities want tied to their names. And sure, sometimes it's reaching, like all that Illuminati stuff. Like honestly, if you think that some of the biggest celebrities are in the Illuminati, like, yeah, possibly, but I don't think they're the ones running it. I think it's the people who you don't see that are running it. The ones who are on the boards of these huge companies, those who make the big decisions that are, implemented into daily lives little by little. Watch Succession if you haven't. Sometimes it feels like it's reaching, yeah, but sometimes it's just internet girlies with red yarn on a corkboard. But every once in a while, you'll scroll across a detail that feels a little too connected not to be true. The trade-off of fame. You get the glitz, the money, the roles, the headlines, but the bigger your name gets, the bigger the shadow cast over it. Suddenly, everyone's talking and those conversations start to get messy quick.
Messy big.
Take Brittany Murphy, for example. It's Sunday morning, December 20th, 2009. Brittany wakes up feeling off. Lightheaded, dizzy. She plants her feet on the floor trying to will herself into the day, but she can't shake the fog. She's been carrying so much weight lately, and not the metaphorical kind you can just unload in a notes app apology. She's taking care of her mom, who's battling neuropathy after surviving breast cancer. Her husband Simon has been collapsing with seizures, and just a month earlier had what looked like a heart attack. On top of that, they're selling Britney Spears' old $3.9 million house, which, side note, Britney always said was cursed. She wanted New York, a fresh start in 2009, maybe a baby, maybe a career revival. This house that she bought from Britney Spears, though, Brittany Murphy, it wasn't what she hoped it would be. It just felt off. But she didn't let that stop her. She had plans. But those plans never made it past that weekend. At 8:00 a.m., December 20th, the Los Angeles Fire Department responds to a medical call. Brittany had collapsed in her bathroom. They tried to resuscitate her, rushed her to Cedars-Sinai, but at 10:05 a.m., Brittany Murphy is pronounced dead, cardiac arrest. And that's where the real questions begin. 5 months after Brittany passed, unfortunately, her husband Simon followed. Same house, same story, same cause of death. At first, officials tossed around the idea of toxic mold lurking in their home, like some sort of silent killer in the walls. But the coroner at the time, Ed Winter, shut that theory down pretty quick, saying there was no evidence mold played a role. Still, not everyone was buying that neat little explanation. In 2012, Brittany's father, Angelo Bertolotti, wasn't ready to let the case rest. He went to court and demanded that her hair samples be released for independent testing. His suspicion that Brittany hadn't just collapsed randomly, that she had been poisoned. And in 2013, he doubled down. A toxicology report he cited revealed traces of heavy metals like antimony and barium in her system, the kind of substances you don't just stumble across in your morning coffee. To him, this wasn't a coincidence, it was deliberate. So who was really trying to poison Brittany Murphy, and most importantly, why? See, there's been this ongoing tug of war between the official reports and the internet rabbit hole. The first autopsy said pneumonia. California, case closed. But others believe Britney and her husband were allegedly silent. And the reasons people think that, they're tangled in the messiest web of celebrity controversies, the kind where every name drop leads you down a dark alley. One of the bigger theories floating around is that Diddy may have somehow been involved, allegedly to prevent Britney from exposing misconduct in Hollywood. It sounds outlandish at first, I know, but then people point out the coincidences, like how Ed Winter, the coroner who handled Britney's case, also handled Kim Porter's autopsy and passed away before he could finish a second one. Add in the fact that Winter himself has become this weird urban legend of Hollywood's dark side. And suddenly the dots don't feel so random anymore. And the connections don't stop there. Britney's husband, Simon Monjack, shared a trainer with Diddy. Small details, sure, but in the conspiracy world, that's enough to launch 40 Reddit threads. Then there's Ashton Kutcher. If you remember, Britney and Ashton dated from late 2002 to early 2003 after starring in the movie Just Married. Their relationship was public, goofy, very TRL era, but Ashton, of course, was also publicly friends with Diddy. And that brings us to Punk'd. 2005 season 6, MTV's hidden camera chaos court was in full swing. Formula was simple. Pick a celebrity, put them in a stage nightmare, film their breakdown, and roll the credits. On this fateful episode, the target was none other than Diddy. Now, this was a prank that probably should have been left on the cutting room floor. Ashton Kutcher was always scheming, apparently lined up what could have been the most ill-advised gag in Punk'd history. But Diddy, rap mogul, living chaos gremlin, man who has seen everything, wasn't about to be blindsided. According to Cracked, Diddy literally called Ashton ahead of time and said, "If you do pull this, that will not end well for you." Not a joke. Not a bit. Just straight up menace. Imagine being the poor intern who pitched that prank. You're in a full room of MTV producers going, "Yeah,
we'll trick Diddy. He'll laugh. Solid 7 out of 10 gag."
And then the reality sets in. You don't prank a man like Diddy. Prank never even aired. The episode had to pivot because sometimes the threat is too real, even for a show built on chaos. Kutcher and Diddy's friendship stretched on for nearly 2 decades before cooling off in recent years. But now, with all of Diddy's current legal troubles resurfacing, people have gone back to connect those dots. And it leaves us wondering, back when Brittany Murphy was dating Ashton Kutcher, did she see something that maybe she shouldn't have? Something that could have come back to haunt her? Allegedly. Their breakup eventually made headlines, with Demi Moore's name thrown into the mix. But the truth behind what Britney may have witnessed, that's a mystery Hollywood isn't exactly lining up to solve. It's 1999. Everyone's burning CDs and wearing frosted lip gloss. And Garth Brooks, one of the biggest country stars in the world, is trying to figure out how to stay relevant. His last huge hit, Friends in Low Places, came out in 1990. Friends in Low Places, when you really think about that, it sounds less like a fun country anthem and more like a quiet confession. Low places, like below the surface low, 6 feet under low. That song even has a line that says, "And I saw the surprise and the fear in his eyes." Fear? Who and why? Garth wanted to feel that rush again, that kind of success that made his name untouchable. But instead of going back to his roots, he and his team, a production company called Red Strokes Entertainment, which already sounds like a horror movie studio, decided to rebrand him, give him a new identity. That identity was Chris Gaines.
Hey everybody, I'm Garth Brooks and I get to host Saturday Night Live this weekend. My musical guest is going to be Chris Gaines. Now, of course, I wanted to play the music, but Mango wanted Chris.
They said it was for a movie, The Lamb, about a tortured rock star and his dark emotional spiral. But to promote it, Garth didn't just act as Chris Gaines, he became him. In October 1999, he released an entire album called Garth Brooks in The Life of Chris Gaines, pre-soundtrack for a movie that would never come out.
This album, you've created a character, right?
Yeah,
Chris Gaines.
He's a character in an upcoming feature film.
That's right, a character in a feature film, and this is, in a way, this is his music, right?
This is his greatest hit, so we can get to know him hopefully a year before the movie's out, so when we go, hopefully, we're a fan of his music by the time we walk into the theater.
Fans didn't get it, critics didn't get it. No one knew why one of the country's biggest stars suddenly looked like an emo backup dancer from Queen of the Damned. The project flopped, and by 2001, Chris Gaines disappeared, and so did the Lamb. But when Garth went back to touring as himself, something strange started happening. People began noticing a pattern. Unsolved cases, missing people, unexplained murders began surfacing around the same time Garth's tour dates rolled through certain cities. Indianapolis, 1993. A woman walks home from a bar near Market Square Arena, the same arena Garth played, and she's never seen again. Chicago, 1993. 3 women vanished the same week Garth sold out back-to-back shows at the Rosemont Horizon. Cincinnati, 1993. A college student's body is pulled up from the Ohio River less than 2 days after Garth's tour bus leaves town. It's all probably a coincidence, probably. But here's the part that made this go from fun conspiracy theory to unsettling internet folklore. Fans started bringing it up at concerts, on TikTok, even in interviews. Some people show up to his shows with signs that say, "Garth, where are the bodies buried?" And every single time he smiles, he laughs it off, and then he moves on. To this day, Garth Brooks has never publicly addressed why so many people believe something darker might be buried beneath those low places. This theory isn't dark in the traditional sense, no murders, no cults, no missing people, but it does play with something a little sinister. The way corporations quietly manipulate both their artists and us, the audience. In case you've been living off the grid for the last few years, K-pop has basically taken over the world. The choreography, the visuals, the demon huntresses, the rollout precision, it's global domination dressed in glitter and synchronization. And naturally, American music executives wanted a piece of the pie. So Geffen Records, yes, the one under Interscope and Universal Music Group, teamed up with South Korea's Hive Entertainment to create something called the Dream Academy. The goal was simple: form a global girl group, 2 contestants, 4 teams, 2 vocal, 2 dance. The audience would vote, the winners would debut. Sounds fun, right? Until you realize what was actually going on behind the scenes. See, most of these girls had been training for years, waking up at dawn, spending every waking hour perfecting dance routines, learning English or Korean, eating, sleeping, and breathing this dream, all because they were told one thing:
you're training to debut.
So imagine their shock when one day their corporate leaders suddenly announce in front of cameras that this isn't a guaranteed debut anymore. It's a survival show. Now, they're not just chasing their dream, they're fighting for it, competing against friends they've spent years training beside. Some even being told they were promised a debut, only to realize that was never real. The announcement broke the room. You could see the betrayal on their faces. The instructors looked just as confused, like maybe they weren't told either. And when elimination started, it got messy. Votes didn't line up. Fan favorites vanished. Some girls cracked under the pressure, It was chaos disguised as reality TV. But eventually 6 members were chosen to form the global girl group we now know as KATSEYE. And yeah, they're huge now, topping charts, selling out shows. I tried to buy a ticket to a show here in Atlanta and, impossible. Now they're like $600. That's resale, by the way. It was like $641. What is that? What is that? For their first concert? Come on, Spice Girls would never. But that's not the end of the story. Because here's where the theory starts to twist. Fans began noticing that some of the eliminated contestants, the ones who supposedly didn't make it, started thriving. Take Adele, for example. She was one of the first to be eliminated, the whole survival contest. Mission 1, she was gone, which shocked everyone because she wasn't just talented, she was practically a mentor to the others. Even staff believed she was destined for stardom. A few months later, after KATSEYE debuted and they had their fame and being icons and everything. I'm an icon. I love KATSEYE. Benet, she's my bias. But a few months later, Adele drops a solo music video called Home Wreck. It's simple, just her and her co-contestant, who also was on the survival show trainee. She was dancing, Adele, Emily was, in a dance studio. It's clean, it's professional, and beautifully choreographed. Fans were proud. Then came Superstar. Bigger production, backup dancers, real direction. Clearly, someone was investing in her. Then Machine Girl drops. And this time she got Sophia Wiley starring alongside her, an actress. There's even a Grimes cameo, and Grimes doesn't just come out for anyone. She's busy trying to get her kids back. Grimes is also listed as a writer on her song too. At that point, it didn't feel indie anymore. Turns out Adele is now signed to Capitol Records, Polydor, and Universal Music Group. The same Universal Music Group that owns Geffen. The same label behind KATSEYE. So was Adele ever really eliminated, or was she just being redirected? Because recently, Geffen announced a new 4-member girl group set to debut in 2026, featuring 3 former members of Dance Academy's contestants, Emily, Samara, and Lexi. Emily, the same girl from Adele's first music video. Lexi, the fan favorite who quit because she couldn't handle competing against her best friend. And Samara, who had some drama with Benet. And if that wasn't eerie enough, these girls recently appeared together again, collaborating in a video. It was like a cute little TikTok video where Daniela starts off and then Adele comes in, and then the other girls come in with KATSEYE and a few other Dream Academy faces. So now people are wondering, was the entire survival show ever real? Did the label just use the competition format to build hype, manipulate fan emotions, and control the narrative, while secretly planning to debut all their chosen trainees anyway? If that's true, the real game wasn't played by the girl, it was played on us. So what do you think? Was the Dream Academy just a genius marketing ploy to manufacture drama and boost engagement? Or did these girls truly not know what was happening until the cameras rolled? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and tell me, which dark celebrity theory do you think we should uncover next? And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure that you give it a big old thumbs up so that way YouTube knows that you liked it, and YouTube will know hey, the next time that one chick comes out with a video again, it'll go straight to your feed. Because if not, and you'll never see me again.